Shalom. This is Rabbi Mark Kunis and my taste of Torah for this week, Parshat Tazria Metzorah 5780. This week is a double Torah portion, and it deals primarily with the biblical illness of tzarat, mistakenly translated as leprosy. Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch in his commentary points out that it can't possibly be leprosy because the symptoms are different. Tzarat, unlike leprosy, for example, is not contagious. And so the Talmud learns that if the symptoms appear on a newlywed or during a festival, then the Kohen must wait to examine and not send one who is ill to confinement so as not to interfere with the celebrations. Obviously, it was not contagious. Tzara'at is not a normal physical disease, but a manifestation of some spiritual disorder. As the Talmud teaches, a Metzorah is one who is Metzorah. Metzorah means Metzorah, one who spreads slander or gossip. The Sforno in his commentary goes further and maintains that this disease is a message from God to help make corrections in one's life, to improve and to grow. So rather than being a negative condition, Tzarat becomes a sign of God's love. The connection of the coronavirus to Tzarat disease is inescapable. In both cases, confinement is crucial. And I find it fascinating that just as Tzarat comes about because of the cruelty of evil speech and gossip that causes pain and suffering to others, our COVID-19 virus has forced us into a quarantine where almost all slander and all gossip has ceased. Hopefully, when we emerge soon from our isolation, having not spread slander and gossip for many weeks, our souls will sense the purity of a life without slander, and we will not return to that part of our lives. The second Torah portion this week tells us that this biblical tzarat disease can affect inanimate objects like clothing or one's house. Really? Diseased houses and clothing? This is really not so hard for us to imagine. We know diseases like the Candida auris fungus supergerm clings to walls, floors, clothing, and almost anything for a long time. Maimonides suggests that when one was guilty of slander in biblical times, God mercifully first sent the disease to one's house, then to one's clothes, and only when one continued to gossip, to one's body. Think about this. Having a disease on your house seems like a real tragedy, doesn't it? However, the great spiritual truth is that the challenges and struggles we face in life, my friends, are really a good not yet understood. And so Rashi, quoting the Midrash, suggests that the tzarat disease in our home was really a good thing. That when the Jews first came into the Holy Land, they found valuables hidden behind the diseased stones they removed from the houses they occupied. I know a man who once had a flat tire on the way to the airport and missed his commuter flight home from a business trip and cursed his fate because he was going to miss putting his kids to sleep that night. Later he found out that the plane crashed. He thought the flat tire was bad, but it turns out, like most challenges and struggles we face, to really be a good not yet understood. Most of our challenges and struggles are not as simple to understand as this, but the principle is the same. My friends, perhaps this is our challenge, to look upon our coronavirus quarantine as a good not yet understood. It has helped clean up the environment by reducing carbon emissions. It has helped clean up our souls by reducing the strain of lashon hara, evil slander, and gossip in our lives. It has given us the time to renew relationships with our loved ones and to contemplate what is really important in our lives. As we emerge from our isolation, let's carry these lessons with us. Keep safe and have a great Shabbos.